Bob Holly. Obviously, the whole show was dedicated to him. It's interesting. I see saw some comments on YouTube and some other places about Bob, and one of the folks put in there, Kurt was so nice about Bob and how he should have been pushed, but let's just be honest, he had no charisma. That's why he was never a top star. So there you go. I'll let you react to that if you want to. You can go ahead.
Well, listen, Bob had charisma at times. I think that Bob was one of those guys that was really quiet to himself, didn't really like to, push himself further or go outside his comfort zone. I think that was the reason why Bob didn't really show a lot of charisma, because he did at times, but he just didn't do it enough to be a top level guy. His work was incredible. His look was incredible. He was smart. He knew the business. He knew how to work in the ring. He had great psychology, but the charisma thing was a little bit of a problem for him.
Would I be wrong to say, was he one of those guys that backstage had the charisma that you just thought to yourself, man, if he could show this out in the ring or out more so in front of the audience, he could really get over?
You know what? At times, he would tell some jokes every once in a while, but for the most part, Bob was pretty much, pretty straightforward and just,
Okay.
Tough guy, and he didn't want anyone to see anything else other than the tough guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hard-nosed, hard-working dude, and that's what he was.
Yes,
Well,
he was.
you guys did some hard work in the ring here. We talked about it last week. Big part of the Rumble is you and Bob, but the match itself goes almost 40 minutes. That's a long time for a television match. Brad Stanton's up next, and he says, is Hardcore Holly underrated? So we got still another Hardcore Holly question, but do you think he's underrated?
Oh, of course. I think Hardcore Holly should have been pushed a lot more than he was. He was really good in the ring. I mean, one of the best I've ever been in the ring with. Very physical, and he had great in-ring psychology. I just feel like Bob Holly should have been pushed at least. He should have been in the title hunt, at least a main event of a pay-per-view. And I don't think Bob ever was.
Bobby KF5 GTX, by the way, that was his call sign when he was on the radio. For those that always wondered why in the world what is that? Well, I asked Bobby and he told me, he said, thank you, Kurt and Paulie B, for another great show. This is one of my favorites on ad-free shows. Well, thank you, Bobby. He said, what was your relationship like with Bob Holly? In the Click Rules documentary, Scott Hall cited him as one that they thought that could definitely go. So what was your relationship like with Bob?
Bob and I were real close. We even got closer after I broke his arm, believe it or not. We had such a great relationship, and we had a mutual respect for each other. We loved working each other. We enjoyed being around each other. Bob, I didn't hang out with him and go to restaurants with him all that much, but being at the building with Bob, I enjoyed his company. He was a really good guy.